This video is going to show you how to use the financial sticky in Classpad.net to do financial calculations. Basically, these are templates. So to actually get to the financial sticky, we're going to click somewhere on our screen. Here's our options, and financial is the one that has the little coin, so financial. So when you click it, you'll see it's basically a template, and you can decide which calculation you need, and depending on which one you choose, it's going to be a different template where you're just going to fill in things like interest and principal value, those types of numbers, and then there'll be calculations. Before we get into that, I did want to point out a couple things. Up here for the financial settings, so 3 dots, you can change the color, but once you choose a specific financial template, let's choose simple interest. You'll notice that it is now its own sticky, and let's just kind of move it up a little bit here. And it also has 3 dots, and so it will include any settings that pertain to the particular template that you go to. So for simple interest, you can be thinking about years, and you can change it to 360 or 365. So we're going to leave it at 365. So depending on the template you choose, the settings might have different options that you can change if you want to. So here's a simple interest template, and I just want to point out a couple things. It's true of all the templates. So anything that you see in blue is going to be the things that are calculated. So everything that's not in blue, so in this case, days, percent, interest percent, and principal value, those are your inputs. And so you need to have those inputs in order for these calculations to occur. So every template, again, has different inputs that are needed in order to do the different outputs. So how do you know what these represent? So one way you can do it, if I click on any box, it has a little kind of clue down here at the bottom that's telling me what it means. So days is the number of days of the investment. So if you're doing it for a whole year, that would be 365. If you're doing it for, 2 months, maybe that's 62. So whatever that is. If I click on here, this is your annual interest rate, so what's being charged or what you're paying or what you're earning if you're going to do it interest on savings, and you're going to enter it as a percent. So if it's 2%, you're going to enter a 2. This one right here is your present value, meaning what you either invested or what you are going to be paying, the loan amount that you're paying off, right? And then these numbers, if I click them, it's not going to tell me what they are until after the fact. If I click in the box, it's going to then tell me this is going to calculate and display the interest you're going to pay on whatever your loan amount or your savings is. And this box here is going to be your future value. So either the future value that you owe because it's a loan, so your interest is adding on to the amount you owe, or the amount that you have earned with the interest if you're doing, say, a savings account. So that's one way to find out what all these boxes mean. Another place that's a really good place to go is up here where it has the question mark. So this is at the top of your paper. You are going to go to the user guide. And the user guide goes through all the stickies. So you'll see each sticky, and there you'll see number 7 is financial. So if you click number 7, this is a really nice place. It kind of talks about where each of these calculations is coming from, and we can go to the specific one you're interested in. So let's just go to simple interest. So it talks about what those are, and it describes each of those blanks here. So if you want to know without clicking on them, you can go into this particular guide and figure out. It also shows you how the formulas are being calculated. When you hit those blue buttons and get a solution, this is what's actually going on behind the scene, right? So that's a really nice way to kind of know where the calculations are coming from. They're not just magic. They are actually doing a calculation behind the scene. So again, the user guide is a great place. Hit financial and it'll explain all of them, because you'll see, so this is compound interest. It has a lot more blue buttons and different things that you really need to think about. And so it's a great place to kind of understand what each of those little abbreviations means. And so it'll go through all of them, cash flow, what each one means, and how you're calculating. So let's go back to our financial sticky, and let's just do something really simple. So the templates are relatively easy to use. You're just going to fill in what's needed. So you can use your soft keyboard here or your computer. So let's say we're going to check how much interest I would be pay? What's my total payout if I took out a loan, let's say? So, and let's say my interest is 2%. It's a 2% loan. And I started, my loan amount that I took out was $18,000. So I'm a small business. I took out a loan to help me buy some things. So now I'm going to say, how much am I going to end up paying in a year? So my interest I pay in a year, notice it says negative $360, and that's because that's what I'm paying. So it's a negative amount. And then my total investment now is at $18,360. So this is a really kind of a nice, even though my loan's only $18,000, because of interest, I am paying more every year than the actual loan amount because I'm paying the interest on top of the loan that I'm paying back. So simple template. Let's look at another one. And so we're going to click somewhere and go to the financial. And again, here's my options. So let's say I'm looking for, I'm a small business and I am trying to sell something that I've made, and I'm trying to make sure I make a profit on it, a certain amount of profit. So this is what the cost sell margin is going to be about. And so you'll see, let's move this up a little bit. Everything in here is a calculation. And basically it means you have to fill in at least 2 in order to calculate for the 3. So let's say I know that it costs me $200 to make something, and that might be time and materials, right? And I want to make sure I make a 30% margin. So I'm going to put in margin of 30%. And so notice I have 2, and so then it's going to calculate, well, if you want that margin to be made, what do you have to sell it for? So we're going to sell it for $285 or $286. So this is a nice way if you are trying to price things out and you know you want to make a certain amount of profit, you can put in the margins that way. You could also do it by you're selling it for something and it costs you this much. What is your profit margin? So we could do the reverse of that. Let's just pull out another. Actually, we don't even need to pull out another one. Let's just use the same one. So let's say this time, I don't know this one. And I know that I sold something for $500. Whoops. Let's say I sold something for $500. It's not letting me. And it cost me $325 to make it. So did I make a profit? It looks like it, but what is my margin of profit? So now I would click the margin, and I'm making a 35% margin, which is great. But like if it were 10%, then was it worth what I charged? I should charge more. So again, the templates are relatively easy to use, and depending on what your template is, you're filling in different options. This one had all of these are calculated, and you're just filling in 2 out of the 3. But if we were to look at, say, cash flow, where I'm trying to maybe see how much cash I have from my expenses and invoices, I have lots of different calculations that can happen here. I have to input the percent, and notice this one's like cash. Where's your cash coming from? It's looking for a list of numbers. So if you keep things, expenses and income in an Excel sheet, you can basically add a list and bring those in. We could call this list 1 and, fill in your income that you're making, and it will use that list. So depending on the template, use different things happen, but it's very easy to use the template, the financial sticky templates. And if you're confused about what the different abbreviations mean, you can either just click right on them and it will tell you down here. So your present value, this stands for your rate of return, how much you're earning. This is your payback period. So everything can be told just by clicking on the items in the template, or you can go over here again to that question mark to the user guide and go into financial. So this is a great tool for doing quick calculations related to financial investments and things like that.